Welcome back to CSB M Commentary. Two people specifically requested Havoc DH and Neltharus, so here you go. I'll do a full commentary over this 14 Nelth I did this week. I'll try to focus on the dungeon mechanics and some of my thought processes. Some weird polls caused us to be much closer on time than we probably should have. Hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, feel free to ask below. Alright, let's dive right into the key. We're playing Glaive Tempest in this Neltharus key. Start the key with Eventual Retreat. Get some of your Fury rolling here. It's going to take a little while to get this pull set up, so I drop a Glaive Tempest. It's going to hit them a little bit. I mean, you don't need to get everything out of it. You don't want to pull aggro on them either. But by the time everything is grouped and I can Glaive Tempest again, I'll be able to do that. And Glaive Tempest is almost back up. I know that he's pulling that pack, and as soon as that pack comes in, I'm going to start going. So right here, you have to watch the Thaumaturge. It does so many different casts, but what people don't know is if it has elementals in the pack, that's when it will start casting the Molten Core. So be careful. If there's elementals in the pack, then you'll have to do extra kicks and such. So that is definitely something you should know. For this pack, just be aware of the frontals and then keep the Thaumaturs. They're the only guys that really cast any kickable thing. Everything else is pretty much a stun, fear, something like that is able to take it down. So the fact that we're pulling that elementals in, the focus target is now going to also be able to cast his Molten Core. So we want to stop all of it, but Molten Core is pretty much a one-shot, so make sure that that's getting kicked. He's really the only thing you need to be focusing on in these packs. He is priority number one. Everything that he casts needs to be stopped. All of it. So just, if you have the kick him. If you don't, stop it. And if you can stop the other things, that will be helpful. And you pretty much always want to pull, as soon as he's dead, you can pull into the next pack here. And as soon as this Thaumaturge is dead, then you can spawn the RP. You don't get to spawn the RP unless you walk up a little bit earlier here. So we'll kill, I believe in this key, we kill the Thaumaturge and walk straight up. That's, I would say, a pretty standard route. I see no issues with it. I would recommend trying it in a semi-coordinated group. Like, if you have a Shadow Priest or a Warlock, the value that they get out of having a second, third, fourth target that doesn't really do much. I mean, if the tank is going to die, do not pull it. If you're the tank and you know you have 0 cooldowns and you will die for some reason, don't do the pull. If you have 2 mobs left over and you're playing with, let's say, a Destro Warlock, a Shadow Priest, there's other classes that get great value out of it, but those 2 in particular, like, pull these into it. They will do more damage. They will actually be killed faster if you pull into the boss. Like, actually, because people are holding CDs, it's just not efficient. And that's the other thing. Everybody should be tracking CDs. Like, I know when the Shadow Priest PI is up. I know when Vamp is up. I know when he has silence sigils, etc. So those are things people need to be thinking about if they want to be climbing a Mythic Plus, is actually tracking, especially in a tank position. If you see a Warlock, let's say a Destro Warlock, has Infernal, you want to do as big of a pull as you can do without dying. That is what is... You're allowed to do that with a Warlock. That is why it's so good. It's also why it's not in the God comp, because it has to choose between single target and AoE. Unlike a Shadow Priest and a Mage, they just kind of do it regardless of what spec they are. So that's one reason why you'll see some classes are just absolutely 100% better than the others. It really is. It comes down to that. This is a close one there. Yep. We're all set. So I missed a little bit of damage with an inertia window with the hunt. I mean, it's not the biggest deal, but we're trying to get better, and missing inertia window by 0.5 seconds because of that lava is something that could happen. But if it was a little bit better, it would have been easier to hit it. It just is what it is in that one. So for the next time, like, these lavas are rough for melee right now. Really rough. But I'm the only melee, so it doesn't really matter. I can kind of get anywhere. I think this healer dies on every boss, so it's kind of just live, just live angle. That's kind of what we're doing here. We decided normally at 20 million health, we're not gonna send a PI everything, but because the healer's dead, it's time to finish the boss, and it's fine to send CDs that won't get 100% value, especially when a healer is dead. You'd rather get people. I mean, I almost got full value. There's only a couple seconds left on meta. I'd say very worth it. Boss is dead. No one. We didn't wipe, and we are straight on to the next pull. So we're gonna say overall worth. So this is where tanks will differ a lot. A lot of tanks will go straight through here and go all the way to the right. Some tanks will go to the left a little bit, pull one of the mini bosses and pull it back to these chains. That's what this one opts to do. I recommend also these hunters stay out of combat because they have a Q, and see, they jumped on that guy, and so he's just taking so much damage so early. So if none of us are in combat, we're not really doing any damage anyway. So we're just kind of in combat for no reason right now. He's pulling it back, and then nobody would have taken any of that damage, and we basically would have done the same amount of DPS regardless, and we've just taken more and probably used CDs. So I chains here, big damage, and I pop all my cooldowns, use my hunt focus on the main mini boss. Always have this guy focused. You can just kick him, and then you don't actually have to run out of the circle. So this guy, you could actually fully DPS, can't get out of the circle that he just dropped right there. Make sure that you do not get hit by that one. Sometimes under all of the mobs, I do not see it. So it's pretty hard sometimes. They changed chains, so there can only be one person doing chains per 3 or 4 minute. I think it's 3 minute CD. Yeah, I can see it right there. 2 minute 20 seconds. So you have to rotate who does them now. It used to be everyone in the group could just grab a chains and just one shot it. They took that away, so now it's exactly like this. You try to pull each pack to a different chains, have a different person chains each time, and it does a decent amount of damage. Can you see it down here? It doesn't say on our charts, but it does an okay amount of damage. And you'll see somebody grab it here. I think this one's the Evokers. And I think we changed already. I'm not sure. But the chains are very useful. You want to try and min-max them the best you can. That's another reason why it's going to be very different between keys. Tanks will pull it differently. Different people will use their chains at different times. So I would try to call out a rotation for them so people are aware while you're doing it. So sometimes they can prepare, they can save their one of their big defensives because it also does damage to you. Another mob might be attacking at the exact same time, so you never really know what can happen in those scenarios. You always want to save one defensive at minimum if you're going to grab the chains. I like to have blur for mine, so I go through, it stuns all the mobs, but I have blur just in case I get touched by any of the frontals because I want to go through as many mobs as possible. The more mobs I hit with it, the more that are going to get stunned and the more damage it's going to get dealt. The faster that we get through the key and the faster I get my loot. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we're trying to do. Right here, we use our chains again, and I believe I can see 24 seconds on my chains. I think I'm the next one to chains, and we kind of fry the next pack. So if you're not utilizing all chains in this room, you're doing yourself a disservice. They do a lot of damage. It's probably 20%, maybe not that much, maybe even exactly that much. I'm not exactly sure how much it does, but it does a massive amount of damage to all mobs and stuns all of them. Can be used essentially on a 3-minute cooldown per person. So by the time you can even get these packs together, you should pretty much be able to do that. This next pack up here, I believe, yeah. So I will be using my blur when it's up. We're going to group on to diamond. If your tank pulls all of these up here, make sure you're using a defensive fairly early if you get jumped on. So jumped on the tank, that's perfect. Jumped on one person, got gripped away. I'm not sure. It looks like he's taking the damage from it still. That thing is awful. These hunters in here are one of the most OP mobs. They really do a lot of damage. You can't really stop them, and it looks like someone even typhooned them back in, and they just still put the dot out. So use the big stuns on those. Focus hunters for the main part. Kick, mending clay. This boss is what you have to make sure that you're setting up. What I don't think a lot of people understand is 3 chains go out. 3 chains have to get broken for him to take damage and stop doing his AoE. But if you break the chains too early, then the boss will end up doing stacking damage with the debuff, and that's how you die on this boss. So, if somebody gets Dragon Strike right here, about 10 seconds after that, there's going to be Grounding Spears that go out. There's going to be 3 of them. You need 3, and so I'm going to get knocked back. I'm going to use Blur. I'm going to go straight forward. I'm going to try to proc this pretty early and now. So the dot has 3 seconds. You can see over to the right. And now we're going to proc another one very soon. And boom, that one's proc. Now the Shadow Priest will proc it as soon as possible now. And he is in his damage phase. The healer died. So I think that the VDH has B-Res. That's another thing. If you have the opportunity to get B-Res, you can get it on your helmet, or you can get it on your wrists. It's very good in Mythic Plus, especially if you have extra slots and if you don't have great bracers, you can get perfect slotted, perfect stat with B-Res. There's a lot of comps that DHs are in and they don't have any B-Res. I tried to bring a Resto Druid or anything that has a B-Res, I really do try. I'm going to try to proc this chain immediately. And so I'm still in my blur, 2 more seconds. I'm just going to be leeching right now because I don't want to be taking a ton of damage. The dot runs out in 1 second. Bam! Now we proc the last one, and now I use my meta, trinket, everything. We have PI, so hopefully we can do a lot of damage in this guy's window. And now he's no longer phased. Perfect. So this boss just kind of fell over. We are just destroying the timer right now. So far the pulls have been pretty good. I wouldn't really change them too much. I think they could have been done a tiny bit faster, but I mean nitpicking after the key is nitpicking after the key. So far so good. This pull. So I'm not a big fan of this pull here. It does a lot of damage. Like, these hunters are just crazy. You could just pull all of these mobs all the way up, have somebody pull the birds in the hallway, and kind of do the same amount of damage in the same amount of time. You're not really gonna die to these mobs, especially with like some cooldowns. This time we had 0 cooldowns. I think maybe you could just do it here. I mean, you could just pull it all the way in, and then just walk to the next chain, and then have the next person do it because there's not really many more chain options. So we have everyone that can chains. There's chains up there, so we chains here, fly up there, chains again, chains again. I mean, it's probably one extra whole pull that we're doing right here. Like, this is nothing with chains. Like, there's 3 mobs, 4 with some birds. I mean, this is I think for the most part we should be adding all of this in and just pulling to the chains. I think that's the smartest thing. I think if we had done that, we would have earned like all of this health would have already been dead. That's what I would change right here. Other than that, that's fine. I think it's not a bad route. I think it's a safe route. I think it's a much safer route for a pug for sure. So I can see why it was pulled like this. I can see how it can be pulled differently. If you're interested in any like in-depth routing guides with MDT and such, I am interested in doing stuff like that. So if people want those earlier, let me know. I will try to fast track those. Running up here, if somebody has alchemy, they can get this buff on the side. I'm not really sure if it's alchemy, but it's a potion, so I'm gonna assume it's alchemy, but you know what they say about assumptions. You're always right. So, right here, this is one of the most deceiving pulls in the dungeon. Really watch your kicks and stuns. If you DR these guys and they all attack the same person, you're gonna die. So I watched there. I wasn't really gonna get attacked by too many of them. I don't have anything but a single stun. My kick is on 10 seconds, but I shadow melded the last thing. Right here, if I get super targeted, I should probably use Netherwalk. I think Netherwalk is I need to be using it more overall. If I have a critique for watching myself, I think it is maybe using Immolation Aura just 1 second too early when somebody else might pop their CD and like the pack is dying just slightly faster than I thought it was going to initially. So I end up kind of probably wasting an inertia, which is not good. Overall, I think I need to use Netherwalk a bit more. Right here, I forgot. I believe I die right here. What did I die to? I think I died, let's see. I meta and then I died. Did I get aggro on something? Oh, I got casted on and I had kick. I didn't even see the cast while I was playing it, so. Alright, that happens. Melee life when you're jumping around, it's sometimes hard to keep track of these plates, you know? Now that I wonder if the priest can life grip me up here, so I could have just released at the bottom and then the priest life grips up. I'm gonna try to test that. Let me know if anyone knows if you can do that. That'd be crazy. That would be a big time save. Or maybe a warlock is up here and you know your team is down there and you could just drop a gate. I have to try that. I will get back to you guys on that. That's a pretty interesting tech. There's so many people that will die here and it having a gate there, if that works, that's crazy. So you always pull those first. So if anyone dies on any of these mobs here, it's just pretty much free. Ooh, I came pretty low there. Yeah, I really don't want to use my blur and stuff too early. But in that scenario, I probably should have dropped it just because. So now Sigil is out. I have individual stun plus kick. It's always you want to bolster kill at all times, but when you have 6 casters that do almost like people's entire health pool in one hit, you want to at least kill 1 or 2. I generally make it my focus target. I really do try to get my best prio damage on the high health mob to efficiently move through the dungeon, but there's times where like it's very dangerous to like leave something up like that. It might not be 100% efficient, but it's very, very dangerous, and most dungeons are not missed because of DPS, it's because of failed mechanics. And I think that would be an example of one of them. I go in, silence here, but the priest had silenced the same one. That's a bit unfortunate just because of how much damage these mobs actually do. But it's alright for right now. I think that one of these comes in and doesn't actually get pulled in all the way. So I think we end up losing our Shadow Priest here, which is very unfortunate. Right now, what could we do differently? So I have no AoE stops. Maybe we just didn't pull these in, then we knocked that one down. So, oh, that's how he got stuck down there. I thought we kicked him in and like he actually came into the pack, but now I see him. He's just free casting in the back because we knocked him on the platform. I mean, it happens. I think we need to get some AoE or some stops on that. So an AoE went off at the exact same time that the mob that got kicked off the platform casted and hit the priest at the same time. So that's unfortunate. Happens. It's very far to run, so we're not going to have him release. This pack has about 10 seconds left to die, and that's not too bad. We will res. There was a big miscommunication right here that I recall. I tried to ping, do everything to get the tank to pull into this guy. If you see that everyone has Lust, we have Lust PI, Meta, all cooldowns ready to go, and there's 3 mobs. This is just funnel right now. This is all just funnel. And he just he just died because I was typing pull. So it really is quite unfortunate what happened because now we have to wait for the res again. All right, so now I think it's just we fully have to wait for the priest to come back. It is what it is. We lost a lot of time here. It's nice to walk into packs and have a predetermined kick order for like different types of, like if I'm circle, he's star and such like that. Like honestly, with all of us going in there, there's only 2 kicks. There's just no reason that should ever go off. But I also have my kick up. I happen to be typing go at the exact same time because we have every single cooldown and it didn't look like he was going to go. If he had just pulled the boss straight into those things, they would have been CC'd immediately, all cooldowns, and probably would have died within 15 seconds. For real. It's just funnel at that point. I believe you need to be able to see those options when you're pulling as a tank. Change up your route slightly. Add an extra pack in your pull if you're going to be doing a Lust out of the ordinary because, like, maybe you're going fast, maybe you're going slow, maybe you need to make a new pull. You can make those decisions, and right here, we will start to pull the boss. This is a pretty good example of how you can open up pretty effectively on a boss. It does a lot of damage. Make sure you're popping your trinket before your blade dance combo. It helps you do a lot of extra damage here. You want to stay in inertia, and one of the other best things about being a night elf is it can cheese a lot of the mechanics in the dungeon here. So when he actually casts, one thing that a lot of people don't know is you can't shadow meld if he's not directly targeting you, but you can shadow meld if you are the person he is targeting with his axe. So it happens here to me. I think it's this next one right here. So he's targeting me directly. You can see it, and I shadow meld. Nobody takes any damage, and the thing doesn't go out. So if it was targeting the druid, it would not have done that, and it would have just went out because maybe he didn't have his thing up or whatever. So if you're night elf, there's a lot of things you can cheese in these dungeons. I will come out with a guide with how, like, just clips of all of the different spots that you can actually use it where it's effective. Not where, yeah, you can shadow meld any cast, but the big examples of the ones that you might not like think of in the moment. Be really careful here, guys. I thought this thing was going to reset and we were just going to fail this key. So if you jump this guy over here into the sides, if he jumps onto a table, there's a chance he goes under and then just fully resets. Right there, it was very, very sketchy because I have seen him reset so many times now. This dungeon sucks. I thought it was a meme when people were actually talking about this dungeon. This dungeon sucks. Not because of like it's hard or whatever. There's a bug every time I'm in this key, and it's like 5 years old. Like I don't even understand. I do not understand how it could be this buggy for this long. Either way, we've already cleared these two guys over here. I am gonna at some point I'm gonna come back and see if a shadow priest can life grip up here. Because let's see. It That looks pretty far. Yeah, maybe not. We're gonna have to see, but I feel like there has got to be a way for the warlock to go over there and finagle a warlock gate down there. Having a warlock gate down there would be so good. I think I'll head up there. I'll figure that out. If it works, I will have probably a shadow meld and a lock gate tutorial of like where you need to be using it the most because there's so many different like you could just use lock gate anywhere and it's like good. But I'm going to try to find the absolute most effective spots that will help you actually time a key in Mythic Plus. That's the goal. What can you use and how can what will actually benefit you? So right here, we're kind of tight on time because we had to wait multiple times. The run back is brutal in these dungeons. Like there is just, it's what, somewhat centralized, but it's so far into the castle on both sides. Right here, I don't think I mean, we probably did have time to pull separately, but this can be kind of a scary pull when the ads end up pulling. There's a lot of prio targets in here. If you're a very proficient healer at AoE damage, I don't think you necessarily need to AoE the bird down first then, and you can kind of cleave this group. The only thing that really matters is when the Lavamancer he's going to get a shield, and you need to break that shield right there. The shield is out, where you have to try to break that shield, and then we're going to kick him and these things are also going to spawn some. I think they're actually called spawns. So they spawn spawns, and now the other one is in the group, and now he has the shield. We're going to try to break that one. Now we kick that, and all my defenses but Netherwalk are down. Watching this one back, doing this commentary, I am going to actively try to be using Netherwalk more for preventative damage and easier healing for the healer because I tried to actually save it for the one shots, but I'm pretty. I know the dungeons now. I know where the one shots are, so I do believe I can start just free using my Netherwalk for an actual just kind of damage reduction in times because I run Blue Silken Lining. There's a lot of value in me actually running that or taking less damage. The healer takes less globals. That's what I am going to be working on. I'm hoping during this, you have found something that you can probably work on yourself. And all we're trying to do right now is get ready for War Within, understand my new classes. I want to get good at Warlock. I want to teach everyone how I learn. I think I have a different way of generally learning than most people, I would say. And I kind of show and then I can make clips about it and then kind of talk about what I'm doing. Make sure on this boss, guys, these weapons do a lot of damage. All you have to do, if you see on the sides, I'll be picking one up soon. They're glowing in the top corners there. If you pick these up, they give you a power. The power breaks the shield very quickly. Do not use it before the shield goes out or I don't even think it does any damage at all. So, like, there is zero value in getting it. Do I even get one right here? Oh, yeah, I was like, where is this thing? This doesn't go all the way. It just looks like it does, so don't be scared. I have learned that. It goes far, but it only goes as far as it. Shield is out, so I'm pre-casting this, so it kind of breaks this and puts less things on the ground for me. I should have went left there, I think. Oh yeah, I just fucking went for it anyway. I beam into here, trying to get your as much damage as you can into the damage amp phase. Cooldowns are a tiny, tiny, tiny bit off. Maybe we could wait a millisecond for the shield, but overall, I mean, it's fine. We're just destroying the boss right now. We have 2 minutes left on the timer when we had to run back through the dungeon multiple times. This was far from a clean key, but I think I learned some stuff in here, and I know how we're gonna do it a little bit quicker next time. I kind of like Neltharus overall. Neltharus has a lot of big pulls, and it gives you the opportunity to make some pretty it makes it different. You can do different pulls with a like chain route. So I like the options that you can do in Neltharus, and it's a fun key. I hope you guys learned something. Thanks.